Greetings and salutations. I said to nobody at all. But at least there's the me. Shut up, Java. How is everyone doing today? I'm doing great. I'm doing real good. I am existing in the void of everything and nothing at all. It says offline. Do I exist? I like to think that I exist. I have no idea, no way to confirm because I'm still new to this. But hey, at least I have love in my heart and something, I don't know. Okay. Back to where we left off last time. Last time we did this. And I left myself this lovely note because I don't know why I left myself this lovely note. It's because I believe in myself. So, currently, this, still untested, should technically work on getting the player to move around corners. Currently, however, it does not work in straight lines. The thing that my older brother helped me brainstorm over is and there's a bug, and I want it to die, and I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate you. I hate you, bug. But it's here. So, okay. This is the current thing we're working on. My train of thought was that the target rotation, if I can print the target rotation upon doing it, I can do a quick test. Hey there, Nathan, how you doing? As you can see, this is the progress. It's very bare bones, and as you can currently see, it moves correctly. Did I not? Where is it? Player control, input check, movement, processes. Yes, the rotation was turned off, so that's good. Yeah, you see, it explodes. It explodes violently whenever you try to move to anything, because it's essentially this is what I was talking about earlier when we were on Discord. In order to correctly like have the and there's a bug. I hate the bug. It's bullying me. Okay, so in order to have the player correctly rotate when you are at this movement point and moving over to the right, currently it performs a check where it checks the rotation from the player in difference to this rotation. So it finds this angle. Then it checks for the second closest 90-degree angle, because the first closest is straight ahead, so the second closest would be straight to the side. And then it does the calculation where the player rotates and rotates smoothly and moves to this point, all on a timer. So, like I said, it's really complicated, but I'm still working on it. Currently, however, because it does that, and if you're at the end of a hallway and you click here, the issue is that because the second closest 90-degree angle is this way, then it explodes again. Meaning that if the position is directly ahead, I need to again perform a check where I essentially do this. This is here. If the target rotation is equal to 0.0, and that's 2 equals, this is supposed to happen. Camera dot rotation is, no, if this entire statement is not true, then this entire thing happens. If it is, then you do literally nothing, because you're already looking at the right direction. So it's so close. The camera rotates, but it rotates at the wrong 90 degrees. So what happens if I just add a negative sign? Does that just fix it? No, it does not. Your brain is fried. Yeah, no, it's a lot of logic. A good example, like this is because you can't use degrees, you have to use radians. A good example is like when you're printing it, you notice that it's when you're printing the rotation, and I'm like printing like the target rotation right now. This is not actually what do you call it? It's not in degrees, it's in radians, meaning you need to translate it to radians, and this is pi it's complicated, my brain hurts, and I don't like it, but I like it at the same time. So currently that works, that doesn't. That is that direction. I'm going to place a differentiator. So in other words, I need a what the hell you call it? Mesh instance 3D, and I'm gonna put this right. I'll put that right there, and it is going to be, this one is going to be a box. And it's in the void now. Why did you do that to me? Where did it? Is it still here? So move it here, move it here. It's going to be a cylinder. I'm just having this to be able to test. So yeah, it is looking in the right direction. Currently, it's just snapping immediately because it's just setting the camera's rotation to the target. I agree. Well, currently it's not doing the thing that I said where it's supposed to instantly, it's supposed to find the correct rotation. So currently it's doing nothing at the moment, but I'm trying. I'm trying so hard. And also, if that rotation is camera rotation plus pi 0.5, that doesn't seem to be 90 degrees. A good example is like this. Am I turning 90 degrees or am I turning like 0.09? Oh no, I get it. This is it's also fun to figure it out because this is also great experience. I also can't tell if I can't tell things, but I can at the same time. So essentially, now I need to figure out how to rotate it smoothly because currently that rotation doesn't work. So rotate cam should be this. Now I can make a variable that essentially is var target rotation equals null. Yeah, no, at least it isn't blowing up. But essentially, this, because this just sets the rotation, like for example, for the movement, for moving, it is essentially, it's using the function move towards, and you give it the point it's moving towards, the speed it's moving towards, and the multiplied by delta just essentially ties it to real time. Because you can tie something to like a, because you can tie something to a timer or tie something to the amount of frames per second. So what this is doing is like when you're moving, the player position is moving, is telling it, it's saying change the player position to the player position moving towards this location. So that's what this move function does. For the rotation, we can do a very similar thing, where where at the end of this, because we only need this to run a singular time, we can do instead of we can change this from rotate cam to find rotate cam, and I can edit. So essentially, this will run once, and then I'll have it start another function that essentially states to rotate to the correct direction. That I need to change this because it's end rotation because it that name was already taken. So essentially, that's what I'm going to do now. And I can edit instead of this. I can do end rotation, so that sets it to the correct rotation. And now I can do function rotate camera and camera dot rotate the Y. No, it's something different. It's what's the correct formula, or the correct, not the correct formula, but it's rotate toward, right? Toward, and this requires three things. It requires a rotation.y, so it's saying only rotate around the y-axis. Use the end rotation. End rotation. The turn speed should be time. It's essentially the time is the time for the movement. So those are so these together. So it's essentially the amount of time that it takes, and multiply that by delta. That should work, or it's going to break immediately. Is it because you're not? Oh, it's because it doesn't have access to it. So essentially, I didn't pass in delta into this. So this needs delta. Essentially, this doesn't have access to delta unless you give it access to delta. So it should now if I just do this and pass in delta, we'll see if it explodes. It crashed instantly. Oh, it's because this never runs currently in its current state. So if it says move to point currently, when you click on something, it does check mouse and then it does move to point. So if under check mouse, I just jam find rotate cam, it still breaks instantly. Non-existent function. Camera dot rotation. No, it's camera dot rotation equals camera dot rotation dot, and no, it doesn't want it. Cannot find member base vector 3. Still no. What if I just camera dot position? No, because that's a base vector 3. So how do I do this? Camera dot Y. Invalid operates float nil in the operator time. So move to point. What do you mean? What's the error? It doesn't like me, and I'm trying. Let's move to point at 60 has float or nil in the operator. Find. Oh, this never runs. Because essentially, the return function makes it so it completely ends this. So the second it reaches return, check mouse closes, meaning this never runs, still hasn't run once. And now I deleted it forever. Find rotate cam. There we go. Maybe if it ran, it'll work. It still explodes. Find rotate cam. Var direction equals this global position. Global position minus move point. The error is that invalid operands Yes, the operator minus. So var direction equals the global position minus the move point. S global position. Move point is dot position. Still no, it still doesn't like me. Invalid access to key position to base object of type null. Wait a minute, I think find rotate cam. When does move point get set? Move point equals endpoint instantly at this. That's the issue. Essentially, this is passing in the... Essentially, this calls this, which gives it something, which returns over here, and it sets it immediately. Therefore, move point hasn't run by the time that this happens. So move point currently doesn't exist or is completely empty. Therefore, I need to populate it in order to get something. So what I can do is... What I need to do is that here, point dot position, move to point, point. This does work, but... Or how about instead of... What should work is that instead of running this here, move to point should be there. And let's see if it works this time. It still explodes. Okay. Position type. Oh, that's just because I think I did that. Still doesn't... Oh, it does work now. It does work now, but now it's getting angry at this one, which is better. Because rotate towards dot rotation. Yeah, and the best part, this is what we call reinventing the wheel. You should not... There's the bug is still there. There's probably, and it always happens, there's probably a much, much easier way to do this. I, however, am trying to learn, meaning I'm trying to reinvent the wheel. It doesn't like it. No, it already has access to Y. Rotate, rotation, non-existent functions. You're currently angry because you don't exist. Camera dot position. That still doesn't work. Rotation dot Y, and that does work immediately, meaning it is this, that, and not the other side that's angry. Camera dot position. Rotate towards time multiplied by delta. That's the end rotation is correct. Time multiplied by delta should be correct. Rotate towards should be correct. I think it's just this part where it's... Do I need dot rotate towards? Cannot find rotate towards in base float. Rotation dot Y. If I do this and remove this, do you work? The answer is no. Now we look to the internet for help, because the internet is always correct. What am I doing wrong? I had everything. The solution was simple. Remove everything. And it explodes. Ah, because Okay, I get it. So, the issue currently is that I need an if. No, if when it find rotate cam uses end rotation is populated when it does it. What I need to do is target rotation is temporary. What I need to do is have an else, and this is just temporary, probably not. Var, I'm gonna move you to this. Var rotate equals false, or it starts at false. Sure, go ahead. I'll be here figuring things out. Else is what you do here is that if it's not, then what did I name it? Is W rotate, which I'm just setting as will rotate. Rotate is equal to true. Else will rotate is equal to false. And if W rotate is true, then we do things. And if it's not, we don't. It did nothing! We did it, everybody! Nothing has changed! Good news, everyone! Nothing happened! I think, however, it's camera.rotation.y. Still nothing. Wonderful. Camera.rotation.right equals rotate towards side should do things. Oh no, time is 0, so it's going to rotate at 0 per second. What I need to do is quickly calculate the speed. So, if this bug would leave me alone for one god darn second, I'd be ecstatic. But it is actively not. Okay, so the time is currently temporarily, let's just set this to 10. It did do the thing. The thing has been done. It's way too fast, though. I think this I can just do at export var rotation speed equals, let's just 2. Rotation speed. Yep. I think I'm going to do a quick calculation. So currently, the move speed S is determined, or time is determined by what? Distance 2 divided by the speed. So in other words, if I go to movement, rotation speed, make that 4 instead, it it does still stop too early. Let's do it 5. I think that's correct. I think it might be a little bit because the center of this one is... Yeah, the center is off, meaning if this needs to move over here, this needs to move over here, meaning the center should now be correct. That's still too slow, meaning... Or I'm being made the fool. Fastest as it can humanly be. What happens? Is that 90 degrees? Testing! Print! Camera! Print of camera rotation. Camera rotation is comma camera dot global rotation. Backspace is currently 0. 0. Negative 1.5 numbers. Global rotation. I think that what happens if I do that? Anything at all? Is the number exactly the same as before? I'm not sure, but I hope so. And for this test, we are going to do print this and radians rad to degree. Should be a float, but it is a vector 3. Zero. 90 and some change. I think this is an issue with floating point variables. So I did get it to work. Welcome back. I did get it to work. Currently, the rotation speed is set really high for testing purposes. So essentially, whenever you see an at export, all this does is that first of all, whenever you export something, you need to declare what it is, because what this essentially does is that it talks to the entire software here, and it allows me to edit it from here, so I don't have to go back into the code and change this number individually. In testing, I can just quickly change the number over here. So that's all export does. So if I set, for example, if I set the rotation speed to 6, now he rotates smoother. And if I set it to 2, he rotates very little, because he only had the amount of time to rotate he didn't have that amount of time to rotate. Currently, 74. I'm trying to find a sweet spot where essentially, if it's too slow, then if he's too slow, then he doesn't rotate all the way before the script stops. If it's too fast, then you get whiplash. And this is floating point variables. The most fun thing about computing. Essentially, when you're working with decimal places, computers are really, really bad at numbers that with decimals. It just in the way they function. I think there's a famous example where if I go here and I go print 1 plus 2, or I think just 1 plus 2. I think that will just genuinely work as... Yeah, it gives you 3. But if I do 0.1 and 0.2, it does... This doesn't use floating point variables in a lot of like language models. I think the terminal is one. So if I find the terminal... Oh, I feel like I've been lied to by the internet now. I don't know what's happening. I feel like I'm having a stroke. Well, essentially, sometimes in some computing formats, this will get you a number like 0.0.30000000001 or something like that, because of just, I'm not sure why, but it just likes to break. But essentially, I did get it working, and this is due to converting radians and degrees. Now, if I now take this fun box, this entire thing, I duplicate it, and I move it over here, can we now turn to the left? We can turn to the left! God, yes! Essentially, this entire thing, and the reason I'm doing these incredibly long calculations, is because it's much easier to build games when you're making them modularly. Where essentially, the first time that I built this game, I essentially had every single one of these movement points in a list. And whenever you would click on it, it would essentially run through like that entire list of every single one of these points in a list, and it would activate only the ones you were able to click on and deactivate all the others, which is a ridiculous amount of calculation for something that doesn't need to happen. What I've done, however, is that I've made it modular, meaning that I don't need to put everything into a list, and all it does is that whenever you click on this object, it essentially ignores it for the next click. So essentially, if you click on this, the game can no longer see this hitbox, and it allows you to fully click on the other ones completely freely. Because if you notice, the point where you stop, this is the point you stop, is behind the point. Because if you stop at this hitbox, then you are way too far forward for it to look good, because you don't see these sides of the hallway and you're fully in the hallway. So you stop before it, but that means the hitbox is directly in front of you. Meaning that if you don't set it to ignore it, you essentially can only click on the hitbox in front of you. But now I can do things. And now I want a button that turns you around, meaning I have to start up a HUD. Essentially, the way I'm going to make a HUD is I'm going to make an invisible button at the bottom of the screen, where essentially if you hover over it, your mouse cursor will change, and you can essentially just click it and turn around. Oh, how does rotating work while crouching? Because I didn't show you, but you can crouch, and that changes your speed of movement. You can crouch while doing it. That's great news. Yes. I know I'm rambling, but I got nothing better to do, and it also helps me change my thoughts. Node 3D die. That's just for organization. Yeah. Thank you for being here, by the way. It genuinely means a lot to me. So, next I will You're at an angle, aren't you? You're at an angle. No, you're not. Sure looks like it. My brain freaking out? My brain's freaking out. Okay. So now we do the HUD. How do we do a HUD again? I'm looking on a second monitor that I got from my dad. Character lean ray. Where is the HUD? Have I completely forgotten how to do a HUD? I should have remembered how to do a HUD. Isn't there just a HUD? No, it's canvas layer. Button. The bug is back. The bug is back. I'm going to try to kill it. It moves too fast and it blends in with everything in front of me, so I can't hit the bug. The bug hates me. But I'm gonna get it. How do I do canvas layer again? If I remember correctly, I've completely forgotten, but so I can't remember correctly, but I can at least try. How did I do a HUD again? I've completely forgotten. I used to remember how I can do a HUD. Since that, I have grown old. That doesn't work. I remember I did a HUD, so I don't know where it. I'm checking out my old version of this game that I originally made, the one that I threw away because it was terrible. And I deleted my HUD in that version, so I don't have the basis on how the HUD do. Where is it? If I go to canvas layer, that's just parallax background. I thought how do I do buttons? I need a button. Check button, link button, option menu, menu button. Is that it? Do I use 2D? I think just button. I think if I remember correctly, if I just do this and I put the text of button, yay. I am peak game design. This blue box is the entire screen. So what we do is we go to the alignment, we lock it to the bottom of the screen, we make it slightly bigger, name it turn around. This button is going to be invisible in the end version of the game, so you're not going to be able to see it. So essentially, again, for testing purposes, essentially you're going to be able to hear and just click that. So your mouse cursor will change when you hover over it, and you'll be able to turn around when you click it. And now a signal, I think when it's pressed, it sends a signal to movement. And that gives us this function, meaning this. I know, I'm a master of game design. When I press the button does things. Hold your applause. Hold your applause, please, please, please. So upon the process should be not here, actually. This signal, disconnect it, die. Essentially, I'm doing it long way. And I have a bot trying to sell me things again. I do not need AI viewers. I am lonely enough. Thank you, bot. If I wanted to cheat, I'd just pull up my own stream on 6 monitors. That'll show them. Who needs AI viewers? I have myself, and I'm better than that. Yeah, it's funny. I've had more bots than random viewers. I've had 3 bots. I've had 3 bots currently, and I've banned all of them. They've all been banned, which means I've banned more bots than I've had viewers, which is both really funny and really humbling. It's a tech guy. He must love AI bots. Okay, so again, button pressed, I'm going to do player. The reason I'm connecting it to player is specifically for organizational purposes. Essentially, the reason I'm separating it, like the player controls and like input checks are over here and the actual movement is over here. The reason I'm doing it, there is the literally only benefit is that is the bug is back. The only benefit is just organizational purposes. Essentially, having one massive piece of text makes everything incredibly difficult to do. So essentially, it's like this movement is already going to get pretty long, like because it just is. So having that plus all of this player control plus all of these variables on one thing just makes it really difficult to follow. So if you hear me pause, that's because at the corner of my eye I see movement and it's the bug and it distracts me every time. I think there's 2. I think they've multiplied. I'll get them one day. So essentially it's just organizational purposes. So on doing it here, on doing the button, I need the player to turn around. So I do movement dot. It also allows me like for anything that the player interacts with. If I need to find it, I go straight here. It's just organizational. Movement dot turn around. And that's it. And we go here, and I do func turn around. Essentially, what this is that I have access to the other script with this, where I've essentially linked them together. So this movement, so essentially I can just call it and say, do this. Turn around. The test is currently empty. I don't need you. Go away. So upon the button is pressed, first thing we have to do is that this shouldn't turn on. Where essentially, while you're turning around, I don't want the player to be able to push any buttons. Currently, the way I have it is that whenever the player starts to move, the variable is moving whenever I want the player to move, the is moving turns to true. So only if the player is moving is the player able to move and rotate. So currently, however, if I use the same variable over here, these will run with the movement points and rotations they had last. Now that isn't a problem for move because you're not moving anywhere, but it is a problem for rotate. Because if rotate camera is on, then it'll essentially be fighting the rotation. So what we do is whenever turnaround is pressed, I can just do a current fun test where all it does is, how do I say this? Camera dot global rotation dot y. Another thing is that the difference between global rotation and other rotation is that global rotation is essentially the rotation of an object in the scene in relation to this 0 axis. Personal rotation means is that this starts here, like starts rotated 90 degrees, and you say rotate to 0, it won't move. If you say rotate globally to 0, then it will move to its original starting point, because because one of them is relative, the other one is not. So global rotation dot y equals, what does it equal again? What are you supposed to equal? It equals camera dot global rotation dot y plus pi. That should work. I'm looking at nothing, so I'm assuming I'm looking behind me, but so I need to just duplicate this and put you right there. Hey, it's there. Perfect. So it did work to rotate 180 degrees. Now I need you to rotate over a period of time. So there is the other issue where currently, I think, if I go here and I click this, I think it's going to activate both. And there's a bug again. I missed it. I moved to North Carolina for this internship that I have been doing. And there are so many bugs in North Carolina, and they're literally everywhere. I have killed so many, and they drive me, they're in my eyes. They have an entire room, an entire world to explore, and they all want to swim in my eyeballs. Yeah. Currently, we have the issue where, essentially, the way it works is that there is a ray or a line that is essentially protruding from my from the center of the screen to wherever my mouse is hovering over. Meaning that's how essentially I'm checking whatever is clicking on. That ray does not care about buttons. Meaning, if you click on the button, it's going to activate both scripts, which breaks it horrifically. So if I go here and I don't click on the button, meaning I also need to do a check that the second the button is pressed, I essentially don't do anything else. I essentially need to lock everything down, say only rotate 180 degrees, and do nothing else. Or else it'll break, and I don't like that. Currently, however, I think I'm just going to have it rotate the... So what happens is that because that will only rotate once, it needs to be... And essentially, process means it runs every frame. Or not every frame, every second. I killed it. I murdered the bug. The bug is dead. Glory be to the All-Father. Okay, so process means it runs every frame, meaning this will run every frame. Which is the main issue, because no actions can be taken while the player is moving. Like if the player tries to click or something and it says check mouse, the first thing it does is it checks to see. I knew there were multiple bugs. I knew I wasn't going crazy. Okay, so currently the essentially the player can't move or can't click other things while the player is moving. Like if I click and I just keep clicking, you have to wait until and everything's broken. Oh, it just took what? Why did everything take? Oh, I can reach this corner before this one. So if I position my mouse right, I just did the rotation one before the... The solution to that is simple. We go over here, we take this hitbox, and we extend it so it's covering that one. I knew that door had a lock on it, and everyone was making me feel I was losing my mind. I feel like that is a reference to something that has gone immediately over my head. Yeah, it's probably a reference to something else. Oh, right. That. The second I saw Diary of a Wimpy Kid, you said Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the entire scene popped into my mind in perfect HD. So that solution was simple. There's this really weird delay where if you're spam clicking, it won't let you interact unless it's... Is the timer being weird? Like, for example, because I can hold shift to sprint. Oh, that's fun. If you sprint, you rotate, and you don't rotate fast enough. The bug is still here. I hate it so much. There are so many bugs in this place. I know I keep talking about bugs, and it's really not conducive to anything, but they're so distracting because they're not just swimming around like in the background. They're swimming into my eyes. Flying, not swimming. Why would they be swimming? That's losing its smalls. Okay, so rotate cam, rotation speed. The current rotation speed is that if you're sprinting, because like I said, like if you hold shift, you can move faster. If you're moving too fast, that means I'm just gonna have a note where increase rotation speed when you are sprinting. Just telling myself to implement that later. Move on a timer, turn around. This function just says turn around. How do I do this? Click if point, and yep, if it checks if it's not moving. However, when you're turning around, I also don't want you to be able to click something and just break everything. My bitrate is... Sorry for that, but I almost killed the bug. I missed. It landed on my desk. Okay, how do I do this? Because having multiple different, like, true or false, I don't want to particularly have too many. The thing is that rotate camera does affect everything. If will rotate is true, I can actually do that. I can just use this variable. I can set it to false once it's done. I don't even need to set it to false. On pause timer timeout will rotate equals false. There we go. That's all I need to do. I'm a genius. I'm a genius. Turn round is a new one of my own beautiful personal creation. And what turn round will do, turn function, turn round, it will take this, jam that in there, obviously, rotate towards why are you breaking? No end rotation, just this instead. Why are you yelling at me? Oh, delta isn't declared. Right. Delta. Delta. Now, all turnaround will do is that it will make is moving equal true. And it should also do the timer thing, where it starts a timer and does that. So how does that... Where do we do the timer again? So time... No, I need access to the timer. Timer is accessed in move to point. It says timer.start time. Control C. Start a timer of time of 2 seconds. Just for now. Testing for now. Increase and decrease according to the crouch/sprint status for the future. I did it! Oh, it's because if you turn around immediately, then move has no place to move to. Meaning, which one is null? I think one of these is null. Move point is null. Move point equals vector 3 at 0, 0, 0. That should just work, I think. It's beautiful! Look at me go! It's not a turnaround, it's a spin button. So when the serial killer's chasing you, you can just click that and think, wow, I'm beautiful. You see, rotate towards doesn't stop when you get to the end rotation. Rotate towards just rotates you towards that direction. It's perfect. I am a genius of game development. The good news is that it does not allow me to do anything while I am rotating. Meaning I can't do anything, but hey, I'm trying. Head export rotation speed S. I'm changing that to S because I'm then going to Control C. Nope, I'm not. I'm just going to edit it because currently I have like this is your standing speed, crouching speed, sprinting speed. I'm just going to do rotation speed. The thing is that I need you to start a timer equal to instead of starting a timer of random times, what I need is time is pi divided by the rotation speed. So that should start a timer that lasts perfectly enough to turn around and stop. If you notice, the more I click, the more broken she becomes. I think this is because of the process. Essentially, it's not perfect. Func physics process delta void. If I just take this and I do if is moving, essentially there is a difference. If I can hover over, I think I might be able to do it. Its physics process is called once each physics tick. This is called every single frame. You can lose frames, or frames can be at different speeds. Each game tick should technically, I think, be perfect every single time. Or I can just be completely wrong, and it's going to break more and more the more I click on it. Oh, also, there's currently no stopgap for pressing it as many times as humanly possible. By the way, I stream 3 times a week. I don't know if I've told you. I stream Monday during this time, Wednesday, and Friday. And currently, I break everything I touch. If is moving is false, then you interact. That is incredibly simple to stop you from being able to spam it. Or currently... no, this needs to be... This needs to be here, not there. Meaning, there we go. And a second. The problem is that I need currently the way it works is that if you click on this object and because it doesn't work because it double breaks. I do need a separate variable. Var is turning equals false. If is turning. If is turning is true, then turn round delta. It's if is turning is false, then is turning equals true. And is turning equals false. And is moving equals true at the same time. Both of them do. My mind just exploded. What just happened? So you can go there, you can go there, you can turn around, you can't go back. Find rotate cam, direction, camera dot global position, minus move point. So it is taking the camera's position minus move point, meaning that is working. The reason being is that if target rotation is equal to 0, 0, I think it's because it's not relative. Or it's because I hate. And this is going to explode, isn't it? Yep. because it turns into a vector 3. Who wants to be a vector 3? Oh, I was so close. Why? At that time, I have no idea. Am I going crazy? No, okay, so the player does move to the correct position. The difference is find rotate cam is the camera global position minus the move point, which is a vector 3 camera dot direction y, meaning that works. The question is, if I go here, rotate, turn around, can I go straight? No, that rotates me? That rotates me. Is it grabbing this object's rotation instead of... What is that? Why are you there? I think what might be happening is that it is grabbing this object's rotation instead of actually checking the rotation of the object, maybe? All I know is that I can rotate or turn around beautifully. That works perfectly. That doesn't. Turn around and is moving is false. It needs both of them, or else you can just... Yeah, there we go. That is incredibly strange. Wait a minute. It's... I have no words. I have never seen something where it works beautifully the first time, exactly as intended. Second time it breaks, third time it... And then it never manages to fix itself. Because if you go here, you turn around, you go here, and then you go here, it's correct again. I have no words. I just have none. Oh. Note for tomorrow. Fix everything. Smiley face. I can't use this. I can, but I just need to do. Concerned face. And that's going to do it for me for today. I do these in 1 hour bursts, or else I'm going to put my head through a wall. And everyone knows that it's best when you start to get momentum on something to immediately stop yourself and stop doing that. I think Gandhi said that. I think Gandhi said just chillax. So I will. So I am going to head out. If you like, because I will be posting this, we can talk about personal plans off of the stream, so... Or if you like, I can do it. Yeah, I'll chat to you over Discord later. That should be fun. Cheers, man. Thank you very much for being here. And if you'd like to make a quick donation... No, I'm kidding. All donations go to the fund of me wanting money. It's very prestigious. You can put that on your tax returns. Well, see ya, man. See everyone who is on the stream as well. I think they'll be by. It's also really funny because the VOD I'm going to be posting, because I'm just dumping it on YouTube, is going to have none of the chat. So I'm just responding to things that no one can see, I'm realizing. Which is going to make it incredibly confusing for anyone to watch. Which is really good. But yeah, see ya. Bye.